Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajacharya Stotra Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajacharya Stotra Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki. Amacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki. Granthara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki. Janitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru Gauranga Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam this morning, Canto 7, Chapter number 4, entitled Hiranyakashipu Terrorizes the Universe. Text number 13. tam anga matang maduna urugandina vivrita tamra aksham asesha asesha dishnya paha upasata upayana panibi vina tribi tapa yoga bala ojasam padam tam angamatam madunuragandina vivrita tam rakshamashesha dishnyapa upasatapayana panibirvina tribhistapayoga balajosham padam tamangamata madunuragandina vivrita tam rakshamashesha dishnyapa upasatapayana panibirvina tribhistapayoga balajosham padam. Someone can recite. Tamangamata madunurangina vivrita tam rakshamashesha dishnyapa vasatapayana paniviravina tribhistapayoga balajosham padam. Tamangamadam madunurangina vivrita tam rakshamashesha dishnyapa upasatapayana paniviravina tribhistapayoga balajosham padam. Tamangamatam madunuragandina vivrita tam rakshamashesha dishnyapa Dunuragandinam Dadam rakshamashesha dishnyapa ayana paniviravina tribhistapayoga Matajis Namangamatam damunur upasatapayana paniviravina tribhistapayoga balajosham padam. Tapayana Vaniviravina Trivisava Tam him Hiranyakashipu Anga, O dear king, Matam intoxicated, Madhuna by wine, Urugandhina strong smelling, Vivrita rolling, Tamra Aksham having eyes like copper, Ashesha Dishnyapa the principal men of all the planets, Upasata worshipped, Upayana full with paraphernalia, Panibi by their own hands, Veena without, Tribihi the three principal deities, Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Tapaha of austerity, Yoga mystic power, Bala bodily strength, Ojasam and power of the senses, Padam the abode. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O my dear king, Hiranyakashipu was always drunk on strong smelling wines and liquors, and therefore his coppery eyes were always rolling. Nonetheless, because he had powerfully executed great austerities in mystic yoga, although he was abominable, all but the three principal demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, personally worshipped him to please him by bringing him various presentations with their own hands. Purport. In the Skanda Purana, there is this description, Upayanam Dadu Sarva Veena Devan Hiranyaksha. Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that everyone but the three principal demigods, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, engaged in his service. Madhvacharya says, Aditya Vasavo Rudra Trividahi Sura Yataha. There are three kinds of demigods, the Adityas, the Vasus and the Rudras. Beneath whom are other demigods like the Maruts and Sadhyas, Marutas Chaiva Vishvecha, Sadhyas Chaiva Tadgataha. Therefore, all the demigods are called Tri Pushtapa, and the same word Tri applies to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Sha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Shudadevi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Seeking the blessing of all assembled Vaishnavas, I'd like to speak some from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam for my own purification. O my dear king, Hiranyakashipu was always drunk on strong smelling wines and liquors, and therefore his coppery eyes were always rolling. Nonetheless, because he had powerfully executed great austerities in mystic yoga, although he was abominable, all but the three principal demigod. So it's interesting. So in Nectar of Devotion, they talk about pure devotional service. And they establish what is pure devotional service in the introduction and the chapter 1. The Samanya Bhakti, or introduction to pure devotional service. And then they talk about the characteristics of pure devotional service. And the first characteristic of pure devotional service is Klesha Agni. That means, which is remove all the kleshas. And it goes in a great detail of explaining how pure devotional service is the only way where you can completely eradicate the root cause of all the obstacles and anarthas and desires. There's a classic example here. Even though Hiranyakashipu has powerfully executed for thousands of years of austerity, thousands of years of mystic yoga, but still he couldn't able to give up intoxication, or he couldn't able to change in the heart. So the process like jnana, karma, yoga, mystic, Vedic studies of the scriptures, and all the karma kanda activities, performing rituals, you can do everything whatever mentioned in the scriptures, but still you cannot remove the desire from your heart. So the example of, like, if someone is having a disease because of too much of sex desire, then even if he goes for a treatment, still he cannot able to give up. Or someone is stealing or something, and then he goes to the prison, then when he comes back, he will like to steal again, because it is not addressed in the root. Why? If you see, that comes the second part, that everyone is suffering in this world. Everyone is suffering or going through some kind of reaction to their activities which they performed in this life or previous life. And where this suffering coming from? Because of sense gratification. And where this sense gratification come from? Because of material desire. And where this desire is coming from? Because of ignorance, avidya. Avidya is the root cause of suffering. So this is again Nectar of Devotion, where Rupa Goswami explains that the root cause of one's suffering is avidya. And what is this avidya? That he thinks he is this material body. Because he thinks that he has this material body, he obviously desires to satisfy the body. And when he develops the desire to satisfy the body, then he engages in sense gratification and leads to frustration. So anything which has a start and end, which leads to suffering. So that's what sense gratification is, because that's not going to exponentially increase as you perform more and more. In fact, it is going to decrease. At the same time, it will lead to miserable. Because if you see from Bhagavad Gita, actions performed in passion, right? Actions performed in passion, which ultimately leads to misery. Action performed in ignorance will lead to foolishness. And action performed in goodness, which leads to knowledge. So if you are trying to satisfy instant happiness, which is nothing but satisfying the senses, which is happiness in the beginning or nectar in the beginning and poison at the end, which is nothing but the quality of passion. And we can see here Hiranyakashipu, the name itself says how passionate he was. And because he was doing so much austerity, so much of tapas, so much of mystic yoga, he missed the whole point of surrendering to Krishna. Everything has to lead, even the yoga ladder, even the teachings, everything given in a gradual way. There is a gradual path, and then there is a direct path, right? We've been very lucky to come into the direct path. So Prabhupada gives an example of if you want to go to the staircase or if you want to go to the top of the building, there is two ways. You can either take a lift or you can walk, right? So coming directly in contact with Bhakti Yoga is again causeless mercy of a Vaishnava. Bhakti is dependent on Bhakti. If you have Bhakti, so that means it has come from Bhakti. That means it has come from someone who having that Bhakti in their heart. It is not because we are academically very scholar, or we have read all the scriptures, or because of the birth, or because of your position in Varnashram, or because of your inner purity. So there is three things is mentioned. Bhakti is not dependent on birth, one's birth. Doesn't matter who you are, whatever, where, it's not dependent on that. The second thing, Bhakti is not dependent on inner purity. Some people say that if you offer something, they say, no, let me do this, let me give up this and I'll take it. Let me give up meat eating, then I'll become vegetarian. Let me give up, what I am doing. I am not pure. I am not good. Imagine if you are only allowed to perform Bhakti Yoga if you are completely pure. No one will be able to sit here or do any service. So Bhakti is not dependent or independent of inner purity, because Bhakti is compared to sun. Sun is not only pure, but it has the reverse effect. That means anything contamination come in contact with sun, they get pure. It doesn't mean that sun will get contaminated, no. So it is pure itself, at the same time it can make other things pure, which is usually we don't see in this world. Some place is pure. If we are impure with, like, for example, we are dirty or something, we go to that place becomes contaminated. So we carry this conception in our mind that, oh, God is so pure, or the holy name is so pure. Yes, it is, but then how can I take? This is a false humility we create within us, that we are so down, we couldn't able to approach, or we are so low that we are not eligible. No, Bhakti clearly says, doesn't matter who you are. We can see Jagai, Madai, Mrigari, so many examples in the scriptures where they have done all kind of sinful activities. They are not pure in their heart. Their intentions is not good. Their attitude is not good. But still, by coming in contact with Bhakti, they are elevated to the pure devotee state. So it is not dependent on inner purity. And then third, it is not dependent on Varnashram system. It's not that if a sannyasi is more advanced than a grahastha. No. A Varnashram system is not even included in the 64 angas of devotional service, because it is material. It is a system, or it is a society setup where one, according to psychophysical nature, that is engaged in a material activity so that he can focus on spiritual elevation or spiritual consciousness. The whole process or the purpose of Varnashram system is, it's a gradual elevation of one's consciousness to Krishna consciousness. That is the whole purpose of Varnashram system. So it is not dependent on Varnashram. You can be a Brahmana, you can be a Sudra, you can be a Malecha, or you can be a Sannyasi, you can be a Vanapras. It doesn't depend on your Krishna conscious progress just because you are placed in a certain quality and work. So when we are performing bhakti, the root cause is the avidya or the ignorance, it's removed. And so Prabhupada tells, what is this great scholar, academic, they cannot control the senses. But a small boy in Krishna consciousness, who is not very much educated, but he follows a 4 regulative principle. Who is greatest? So he takes very much pride in speaking to all the guests about his disciples and devotees who have taken. And he says, these American, European boys, they had everything. At the prime age, prime youth, they gave up all the sense gratification. They gave up everything and they are serving Lord Chaitanya. Tyaktva tu namashesha mandalapati. Sada tuchchavat. Like, the Goswamis, they just gave everything like a, insignificant thing. And they surrendered to Lord Chaitanya. If you see the life of Goswamis, they are great, they have abundant opulence. One was prime minister, one was finance minister, one was Jamindar's son, one was, if you see their background, they had everything. They have beautiful home, they have beautiful wealth, they are very, scholarly, great. They have beautiful wife. Everything they gave just to serve Lord Chaitanya. So even in the lineage of all the parampara, we can see every Acharya, they gave everything up just to surrender to Krishna. So this ignorance is removed from the heart of a devotee. The desires get removed, the proclivity get removed, even the reactions is removed. This is interesting. That whatever sinful activity one gets, one perform, whatever sinful activity one perform, then he gets a reaction. So currently, whatever body or whatever place of birth or whatever situation we have taken birth is a sum total of your reaction, which is prarabdha karma. Right? Your body is a great example of your prarabdha karma. But by performing bhakti, even in a person who has taken birth in a dog-eating family, he can become a brahmana. So technically speaking, in this life, you can change even your reaction. So how powerful bhakti is, isn't it? So this is given in Bhāgavatam, quoting that how bhakti can change your current karma. Like suppose we are not everyone has taken birth in a Vaishnava family. We have some Vaishnavas who have taken birth here. We are not that fortunate. So wherever situation there, we can become a brahmana. So that means we can change our birth. So that's called twice born, isn't it? That's more important. We got a biological birth, but really once taken birth, when they get initiated, when they get diksha from a bona fide spiritual master, that's where the person is actually taking birth. Its life is initiated, its spiritual life is initiated. So this ignorance is removed. Every stage, aprarabdha karma. So one may say, what about the sinful reaction which is stocked up or which is going to come? So the example is given Arjuna. Arjuna also worried because Arjuna was in a great position. He doesn't have any, he didn't take birth in a low family. He was everything. But his worry was, if I take part in this war, if I kill all these assembled devotees, my problem is I would have to go through the hell because of sinful reaction which is going to come in the future. What did Krishna says? Do not fear. You just surrender unto me. Abandon all kinds of irreligious activities and just surrender unto me. I will take care of you. I will relieve you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. So Krishna is saying, if you surrender now, don't worry about the future reaction. That also I will take care of it. So this ignorance is only removed by the process of bhakti. Other process, like we can see from example of Hiranyakashipu, mystic yoga, austerity, jnana, all those things, just it will not remove the seed, it will just, it will only address the symptomatical problem. It will address the symptom, but it will not remove the root. It will not remove the weed completely. So that's why here, very important that we perform bhakti yoga and we have to elevate ourselves to pure devotional service. Now, second thing, here it's mentioned, Hiranyakashipu was always drunk on strong smelling wines and liquor, and therefore his coppery eyes were always rolling. This material intoxication, we can see that by taking intoxication, one eyes are red, copper and covered. But there is another type of intoxication which is always there, which everyone is there. That is, that one thing that I am this body, I am so and so, I am the CEO, I am masters, I am the scientist, I am this, I am that. So many designations, so many upadhis. Sarva upadhi vinirmuktam. Tat parvetvana nirmalam. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam. Thank you. That is called bhakti. We have to give up all our designation and engage our senses in the service of the master of the senses. Then that is called bhakti, right? This is Narada Pancharatra. It's a definition of Uttama Bhakti. So then, we have so many of designation which is nothing but the one kind of intoxication. We think I am this body. Then what is this? This also affect our eyes. Which is like the cataract. We say every day, right? Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Shakshur Anmalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. So we need a surgeon who can remove all this intoxication, which is nothing but the spiritual master. So here, this material intoxication, it will go away. If someone is taking drugs or intoxication, maybe 1 day, 2 days, 6 months, it will go away. But the other intoxication, that thinking I am this body, which is carried for lifetime after lifetime, that does not go away by itself. Unless until one come in contact with the expert spiritual master. Right? Unless until one comes in contact with the expert spiritual master, it is not possible that we remove this ignorance. A person who is in 3 modes, who is bound by himself, cannot unbound. He cannot unbound himself. This is not by personal endeavor that I can come out of this 3 modes. Krishna says, Devi Yeshi Gunamayi Mama Maya Durutyaya Maam Yevayi Prapadyante Mayam Etam Tarantite. Only by surrendering to me, then Krishna or Krishna representative can unbound the jiva which is bound by the 3 modes. This ignorance is covering our vision, is covering about ourselves, who we are. It is covering our vision towards this material world, to all the living entities. We couldn't able to see the spirit soul within every individual. We couldn't able to see how the Krishna is present in the material energy. Rasoham apsu kaunteya, prabhashmi sasishuriyo. We cannot able to see because why? This ignorance. And this ignorance cannot be removed by one's own endeavor. or by any austerity or any performance of mystic yoga. No. By coming into contact with a spiritual master who is an expert surgeon, he can remove the cataract of this ignorance from our eyes. And this is the first step in devotional service. Rupa Goswami said that taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. If you take the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, then he can able to remove this ignorance. So that's why here Hiranyakashipu is, even though he is intoxicated, and this intoxication we can see from Krishna book. These demons, yes, he has this quality which is atheistic or not surrendered to the scriptures or not accepting the Supreme Person. But this intoxication comes from material opulence and power as well. We can see from the case of Indra. Due to his material opulence and the position, he also been covered by this ignorance. And he want to punish the residents of Vrindavan. He want to teach a lesson to this talkative boy, Krishna, that everyone listen to him. So he want to prove and to show that who he is. So just by material opulence, Bhoga Aishwarya, Krishna says these two are very dangerous. It will not help you to perform determined bhakti, sense gratification and material opulence. And many other such things like, position, fame, pratishta, beauty. Even, Kunti Maharani says, Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribi, that one's higher birth, one's opulence, one's education, academic, beauty. These are all actually obstacles in the path of bhakti. If we are not engaging in Krishna service. So in that case, everything can be used in Krishna service or one's own service. So here Hiranyakashipu, even though had everything under his control, the whole world is under his control, but what was his mood? He want to reverse everything. He want to change. He want to use it for his pleasure. He was thinking only about himself. And he was like hard thinking against Lord Vishnu. So here, Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that everyone but the three principal demigods, that is Lord Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, engaged in his service. Can you believe that? Can you see that? This is kind of a mood that we carry when we come into this material world also. That we want to be the center of the world. That we want everyone to serve me. Very strong actually. Our existence is very much present that we think that we are very special and we want to make a mark in this material world, and we expecting that everyone has to serve me. So we have that bhav in our heart, and this has to remove. So then this is exactly opposite the mood which we are cultivating in devotional service, which is the servant of the servant. That we control our mind, we control our senses and engage in the regulative principles of devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. So we develop a certain kind of attitude which will make you advance in devotional service. So this is Rupa Goswami recommendation, that the advancement of devotional service is the attitude of a practitioner, will determine his advancement. If you have the controlling or lording over or Hiranyakashipu attitude, then you will be here in this material world perpetually. But if you develop an attitude of a servant, of the service to the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, devotees and the Acharyas, then our progress we can see. So this is basically helping us. And then we know that even though they talk about in great detail about Hiranyakashipu, but there is a connection. The Hiranyakashipu was killed by the Lord. He is not an ordinary person, a great demon. But then we can reflect upon this is nothing. This is nothing that we see. Oh, the demons are so and so. External appearance is like that. We see so many times that when they project the demon, they have horns, they are red in color, big beard or mustache or something, canine teeth, and very ghastly kind of outlook. But then when you start reading Gita and the book, they focus on not external, they focus on quality of a demon. They don't focus on the external feature of a demon, how they look, how they... But then they speak about his mentality, how he is thinking, how is his thought process, what is going in his mind, head, and what his plans are. You can read from the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita in great detail. Krishna explained that how he is making plan, what are his goals, what is his mind, what is his thought process, everything. So then as we progress, we understand this is not about someone else. This is about ourselves. Cheto darpana marjanam, the mirror of our heart has to be cleansed, which is covered with so much of dirt. So the devotional service is such that it will actually project and it will bring up all the impurities to the surface, and it will show up to you what you have got. Why? It's a thankless and merciful way of Krishna helping us to get rid of our anarthas. So that's why it is so potent. Devotional service is so potent that it can take one from a Kanishta to a greater platform, Madhyama and Uttama. It's a progressive, It's not that if you see devotional service or the practitioner of devotional service, Bhagavatam talk about they can practice in 3 modes or even different way. The classification of devotees depends on many categories they divide in different book. Ishopanishad, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. It depends on different way. Like for example, the way that 3 devotees perceive the absolute truth, they divide. And depending upon their faith, depending upon their knowledge, depending upon their association, and depending upon their practice, so many way they categorize, so that we can know how we can able to conduct in different categories. And also we can know, okay, fine, what is my next goal or the bar, where should I go, where I am. So this gives you very much a kind of a roadmap or a benchmarking for our own progress. And it helps us. So we are not stagnant in one place. Devotional service you cannot be in either way, in material or spiritual, you cannot be stagnant. You have to work hard to go up, otherwise you have to go down. So you can't be like, I've achieved a certain position or level in my devotional service and I can take it a little bit complacent or casual. No, it is not like that, because it's not that Maya have weekend break or 9 to 5 job. No, She is 24/7 CCTV camera like that. Yeah? She is always watching you, she is always recording your activities, and she is always alluring you. Yeah? She is working hard. Right? Prabhupada said you are declaring war against Maya when you take devotional service. So imagine you are not going to be a casual, having your picnic outgoing in the war zone. Right? So it's a serious thing that we have to work our way to go up. So you are swimming against the upstream. So you need a lot of support. You need a boat. Right? You need association of devotees. You need the spiritual master who can take. You need a favorable wind. There's a description given in the scriptures. So then we can't just be complacent that, okay, fine, I've been here for a few years. I know how things work here. And pretty much I know the names of the deities. And I know all the offerings and what they offer also. And what time the prasadam comes out. And I know all the bhakti vishya. I know all the suburbs. And I know all the leaders in the society. So you can be in your own bubble of imaginary world of your Krishna consciousness. And don't worry, it will soon be burst. It's a matter of time. So then we have to see how we can able to progress in a given time. So we should have our own agenda of timeline. Okay, this month, this many months, this many years, where I am. Time will go. Time go so fast. Whether you notice or not, it will go. It will just be carried. And by the time we realize we already passed so many years and we have not done nothing in our Krishna consciousness. So we should think. So here this description of Hiranyakashipu and his quality, his activities are given so that it is an eye-opener for us. So that we don't get trapped into this kind of deviation from the original purpose or goal which we started the bhakti. Yeah. So then a lot of allurement comes. So that's why it's very important that we introspect and we take shelter of Bhagavatam, deities, the holy name, association of devotees. So this is very important that we take shelter and we have something to meditate, to basically have the mental chewing going on in a day-to-day life. Otherwise, we get allured and deviated from the path of bhakti. So I'll stop here and see if anyone has any comments, correction or questions on what we discussed today. Yes, Mataji. Just a mic will come. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. It's a really beautiful class. I was thinking, while you were speaking, I was thinking, why this Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu have to personally serve him. Then I was thinking it's because maybe he has done so much austerities, they are serving at the same time for the demoniac. So that is means good and bad he has to go through. So when we do bhakti, there is no good bad. Is that the reason? They are serving even Lord Vishnu means Krishna himself. Right?
These three demigods, everyone is serving except these three. Is that right? They didn't serve. So that's why here in the purport, Madhvacharya explaining that Trivida means not this Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, but it's 3 kinds of demigods, which is Adityas, Vasus and Rudras. So this is his commentary. But irrespective, Brahma, Vishnu, in the previous also we saw that these 3 people, they are not affected, they are not. So except apart from them, everyone was under his. So he took over the king of demigods, that is Indra. So he took over his kingdom. So all the demigods, other demigods are under his control. Hare Krishna. Yes, bro.
Prabhu, as you said that Krishna advised Arjun to be religious, and not to be religious. So how Arjun was irreligious? Because Arjun is born in such a royal family, and he has been taught by such a exalted gurus like Founder-Acharya and others, guided by Krishna Pitama and so many others. So how come he was irreligious and he needed to be religious?
He was not irreligious. He was religious, and he had knowledge because he has studied under all the guru and everything. But all the knowledge, all the things, ultimately is to please Krishna. So that is the whole point of Bhagavad Gita. That what is religion? That for us, religion means following the instructions of Krishna. So that is religion. So one may be caught up in the network of religion. Religion is nothing but all the rituals and ceremonies. Even Arjun was also giving the reasoning of one has to protect the family tradition, the culture, the pindadan, and all those things. And Krishna says, these are nothing but beautiful flower of a poisonous tree. He compared the whole Vedas, right? But Krishna also said, the purpose of Vedas is to surrender to me, because I am the compiler, I am the propagator of Vedas. So our idea is, we are interested in the purpose of Veda rather in following the Vedas. In simple term, Krishna says, you do this war just to please me. This is the ultimate of all the instruction. So similarly, for us, we perform bhakti so that we can please Krishna and think about Krishna. And if a religion helps that to do, yes. Or religion, dharma, hartha, kama, moksha. Everyone using that for what? For comes to sense gratification. No. Right? One has to employ his artha for dharma. So everything, if you see in perspective of Krishna consciousness, our religion is to please Krishna. This is our religion. And anything can be done under the program which is given by acharyas. So one may say, okay, why you are not eating meat or, onion and garlic? It doesn't say anything. Hindus, they eat. No, this is the program given by the acharyas that you follow the 4 regulative principle. So then we follow that. Why? Because to please, so that we can able to perform our bhakti well, so that we can please Krishna. And then becomes the proper understanding. Otherwise, we will be very much focused on what should do and do, how one should do, proper, like we become a smarta brahmana. We don't want to become a smarta brahmana, because smarta brahmana did not surrender to Krishna. But the wife of the smarta brahmanas surrendered to Krishna. They were too much hell-bent on the religious activity. They are considering themselves, okay, this we have to do it properly, this sacrifice has to be done, no one should eat. But then what is the point? You missed the whole point. You couldn't able to, you got an opportunity to serve Krishna Balram, you couldn't able to do it. Then they were cursing themselves, what this all hell with this, all these things. But then the wife of Brahmana, they got the essence. One may say they are not religious because they didn't listen to their husband. Right? How can you be a religious woman? Because you didn't listen to your husband, you went without, this is not etiquette, this is not a religious woman. One can go on. But the point is, they gave up everything. They gave up all the religious activity. All religious activity. Why? To surrender to Krishna. So they are greatest. The gopis are greatest. Why? Because they least consider about themselves and they least consider about others. Only their concern is how to please Krishna. Right? So that's what we are also aiming or following the footstep. Okay? Thank you.
So,
Yes.
if husband is not pleasing Krishna, then the wife is made to worry about pleasing the husband.
Very subjective. This is not very objective. We cannot say that everyone has to do that. No. Simple principle, we have to say, look at the principle. Detail is different. The principle is that the family, husband is serving Krishna, wife is chaste to the husband, and four family are working together to help each other so that they can put Krishna in the center and serving. So serving each other is obviously, if both are considering devotees, then you're serving each other, then you're doing Vaishnava Seva. Right? So then you have to see how you can able to grow in Krishna consciousness, helping each other. Not that I am here, so you serve me. Not like, you have to see very subjectively. There are certain examples we cannot give to everyone same. Oh yeah, okay, fine. So you have to see. Yeah, so you take guidance from the spiritual master or the Siksha Gurus, and then see how is possible. And your priority should be Krishna consciousness, irrespective of your ashram. Whether brahmachari, grahastha, vanapra, sannyasi, your priority is Krishna consciousness. If your material things are affecting your Krishna consciousness, you should not give Krishna consciousness. Rather, you have to adjust the material. So basically, your Krishna consciousness center, and which if your material, then you have to, in order to support your Krishna consciousness, you create your material aspect. But then mostly we are thinking other way. I will do Krishna consciousness in my comfort of my material satisfaction. I will chant when I finish everything like that. When time is there, I will chant. No, you chant and then you adjust everything according to that. So that's how your mood or your things has to change. Of course, under the guidance, not whimsically. One has to see. When you have a family, when you have to see, because you are not supposed to become a mother or father or a guru or a leader if you are not able to deliver your dependence. Now again, then you are putting yourself in a selfless condition. The more you become selfless, the more you become advanced in bhakti. So then you have to see your family, your kids, many other aspects are you considered, so that you can have a plan for your Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, thank you. Okay? Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Smashing all the chopping technique. That's it. Yes. Yeah, yesterday Prabhu said. Yes. Hmm. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll stop here. Kantra Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What? Who is that? Raja?
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathantam Svam Sajivam Shadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita शाखान्वितांश्च श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.